has been inhabited and has been used as a way station, a port of harbor for space traveling extraterrestrial star nations for millions of years. And many of us have direct spiritual reincarnational history with many of these star nations. Humanity is made up of at least 22 different extraterrestrial races, a genetic lineage to other star nations. So I think it's going to be the extraterrestrials who at some point sit down humanity and say, look, here's the whole story of who you are and how we got here and why we're here. And we're never going to get that from Earth religions. That can only come from beings off-world who have not only been through the process, but who have been watching us for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. The benevolents were very compassionate towards humanity, and they did things to help, teaching us agriculture, animal husbandry, construction, astronomy, mathematics, the healing arts, how to use the plants to heal certain diseases and things of that nature. Some actually taught us some spirituality, energy fields, chakras, etc., etc. The last thing the benevolence want is to be worshipped. That is not what they're about. You know, what they want is humanity to step forward and become a part of the family of the galactic. There is an interconnectedness that's being created by these beings on a, what we would call a spiritual level, harmonic level, that our universe, our holograph, which contains all of the universe that we know, has never had before. The immediate result that we're seeing here in third density is the awakening of humanity, the awakening of our DNA, the transformation of how we see ourselves and our connectedness to all that is. There are many kids and many human beings that have had near-death experiences. When they come back into their bodies, many of them have a third strand of DNA. Some have 4. There's a gentleman in New Zealand who was dead almost 3 hours. When he came back, he had 6 strands of DNA. Humanity is beginning to remember that we are, in fact, multidimensional souls that got trapped in a physical dimension by being tricked and manipulated. And we're going to realize that the manipulation of race, color, and creed has been just that. We just need to step into the process and embrace it. And then the reality is that 95% of us is always multidimensional. What we see here in the physical is a very, very small piece of who we really are. 2 years ago, Jupiter picked up an additional 19 moons. Now we're being told that Saturn has picked up some additional moons. Most of these moons have a very specific mineral, and on our periodic chart, the only thing we would recognize would be quartz. Now, these asteroids have been brought into a orbit around these planets. It was a very orderly migration into the solar system. It was all managed. And some of the moons have already showed signs of being mined, and that was by other star nations that have already used this technology. What this mineral does is that you can create bows of boats, rods that will fit into lakes, oceans, housing on aircraft engines, and when you generate a specific harmonic frequency in this metal, it causes all of the protons and electrons of pollution to break down and decay and die, specifically radiation. It causes it to speed up its decay process, and it just falls to the bottom of the ocean. They brought this material here to help us clean up our world. Whenever this process truly begins, they're going to want us to take responsibility for not only the mining, but also the manufacturing and the cleaning of our environment to get everyone involved in this process. And it will help us to re-engage with our home planet, because most of us have detached from nature almost completely.